Take a girl and a guy, and they fall madly in love and form a family. Sprinkle in some counseling degrees and a doctorate, a dream of transforming relationships as we know it. And 20 years later, we give you power couple Dr. Ray and Jean Ketkodian. And this is their podcast, Couples Synergy.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Couple Synergy with Dr. Ray and Jean. Hi, I'm Dr. Ray.
And I'm Jean, and this is our podcast about love, marriage, and relationships.
Check us out online at couplesynergy.com or on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, and LinkedIn at Couple Synergy. And please subscribe to our podcast, leave us a review, or send us any suggestions on topics you'd like to hear more about. Now on to Couple Synergy, an in-depth look at love, marriage, and relationships, where we bring you our experience helping thousands of couples transform their relationships for over 25 years.
Everyone says you should work on your relationship, but nobody teaches us how. So we've created this podcast to teach people what they can do to create the relationship they've always dreamed of
With the partner they fell in love with. On today's episode, we welcome Al and Darlene. Thank you so much for being on our podcast today, guys. This is really wonderful. And you guys made a trek over to our house, right?
Yeah.
You guys are joined with your granddaughter, Stormy.
Whole mile and a half, probably.
Oh, wow. Well, we definitely want to get into your story. I think it's going to be really important for a lot of our viewers and our listeners. You guys have been married how long now?
Just turned 60 years.
60 years. Congratulations.
April Fool's Day, 3rd of April.
What
April Fool's
it's a
Day.
perfect day, right? Get married.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Well, for our viewers, can you guys tell them how old are you and how long have you been together?
Well, I'm slightly younger than Dirk. I'm 81, looking at 82 in a month, and she don't have to tell you her age. I ain't gonna spread the word.
I'm 78.
And you guys have been together for 60 years. Can you tell us the story of how you met?
Yeah, that was an unfortunate time. I've been in late years of high school and stuff. I was interested in trying to find a mate. So I went to a youth camp on Grand Mesa, and
Barren Lake.
her best friend showed up. I was working in the dining hall, and her best friend showed up with her, and she was bashful then. She got over that pretty good. So. But anyway, she met up with her, and she introduced me to this girl. We went to, I lived up here, and she lived in Grand Junction. Her dad was a floor covering contractor, and over the 4 years, I finally graduated from high school and moved to Grand Junction, so we got to see each other more than once a month. Probably the last year or two that we knew each other for 4 years before we got married, so we didn't jump into anything, take anything lightly. We pretty well knew how each other felt about things before we got in touch, not, which that doesn't necessarily happen this day and age.
Right.
That's true.
You can tell them a little bit of our relationship with Dad
Oh yeah, her dad.
and my mom.
I married a preacher's kid, you know.
Oh,
So her dad was a preacher, and he's pretty straight-laced. So
He was raised in an orphanage.
when we'd come back in the early evening, we'd stop along the street in front of the house, and her house was right on the corner, and so the step was right in the corner of the house. So the front door was right in the corner of the house. Walked down to the sidewalk, and it was all concrete. So we'd get out of the car and go over there and sit on the step. Well, he thought that was unseemly. He'd come out and get us off the step because
What would the neighbors
what was the
think?
neighbors think if they saw us sitting there?
And what age were you guys when he was saying
Oh, I
this?
was 19 and she was 40. What?
15?
15.
Yeah.
That's
She's
the
14.
problem.
She was 14 when I met her. I was 19. I just graduated from high school. So, or I graduated a year
That's why she was the camper and he worked at the camp.
Ah. What did you think when you first saw him?
Well, I met him, as I said, at the Barren Lake. And of course, he's himself. And we sat down in the pews. And he starts.
What?
What did I do?
See, that's one thing that really helps out is having a poor memory.
Yeah,
So you don't hold grudges
right.
and you can't remember when somebody's looking for you.
That's a tip. That's a tip for all of you out there.
Well, the camp where they separated the girls from the guys.
Yeah, they had girl storms.
So they met in the dining hall. Was when we were all together while we were doing dishes. And that's when he became ornery.
Yeah, I'd let her wash dishes with me.
He was making the girl.
Hmm?
You were. I'm trying to think of the word that you used. But you were teasing me about laughing eyes.
Oh, yeah.
Laughing eyes is my name for
Boys Club
Boys
had
Club name, Frontiersman. I'm Laughing Eyes.
the Boys Club I worked with had their special achievement
Okay.
group, like being Order of the Arrow and stuff like this with scouts. This was the Frontiersman Camping Fraternity, and we lived in teepee and outdoor Indian ways and mountain man ways, and it was a mountain man fraternity. And so all the kids get a name, everybody gets a name, and people that are involved in it, with the men and the boys, all have to choose a name at a certain point in the program. So, and
And you both belonged to that organization growing up?
no, it was something that I did after we moved to California.
Okay.
But I stayed with it for like 17 or 18, 20 years, something like that.
Longer than that.
But anyway, since she has those wrinkly, I've never been one to question why a woman wants to erase all the wrinkles in her face, because those are. I guess you'd say they're marks. Excuse me. They're marks of achievement.
Yeah.
Anyways, all of her wrinkles in her eyes and stuff, we got to call her laughing eyes because she always looked like she's laughing because she's all wrinkled in the corners of her eyes.
Oh my gosh.
So,
That's awesome.
and anyway,
He called me Laughing Eyes.
so anyway, so laughing eyes and bumper high moved to Colorado 25 years ago.
So, how many kids were in the high schools that you guys went to?
I graduated in Grand Junction High School, had 405 graduating. And the day of my graduation, I was in a head-on collision, so I didn't get to go. So that was in Tibet Canyon, and I crawled out of the car because the motor was sitting beside me,
Oh my gosh.
and I was scared to death it was going to catch on fire, so you immediately get out. And so I went to the hospital. I was the one that did all the talking because nobody else could. And so that started a lot, my relationship. My best girlfriend is still it. I still have her. We've known each other since we were 14. And, life, long friends.
That's awesome.
And
So it's the same friend that introduced you to?
Deanie,
It was Deanie.
yeah.
Just on that brought
Viola was the,
the one
Yeah.
from summer camp.
mhm.
That was one of the,
Fired.
that was one of the
We-
girls from her high school.
On the block that I lived in on White Avenue in Grand Junction when I was a kid, we all played kick the can because they had the alleys. And all of us, there was 25 kids lived in that block. We had a blast.
Nice.
And we'd go out at night, walk the streets. You didn't have no fear of nothing. We just, and we had our slumber parties, and so I had a really, really fun life.
But then you picked the guy from Crawford.
Huh?
Out of 405, you picked the guy from Crawford.
Yeah, ain't too smart, is she? I went with her for 4 years. I wasn't too smart.
Well, I met, the way I met him, he was doing track in the,
Oh, yeah, we had
yeah,
a track
and
team.
he would come and run, and so my best girlfriend took me to meet you.
I didn't know that. You ran track?
Let's see.
He was a runner. He was really good. That's why he
But I
can
wasn't-
do everything with
But I
his
wasn't
feet.
fast enough, was I?
No, very nice. How you? She's so caught
But I was raised here in Crawford. I right down here at the bottom of the hill.
And how many people were in the town or in the high school?
Well, my high school class was, there was 7 of us,
7.
6 boys and a girl.
Poor girl, huh?
The girls still live in Crawford. We got a 0 mortality rate. All of us are still alive.
Wow, that's
And,
awesome.
They're all probably 79 now or 80, but because me and one other guy were the same age. I started school early or late, and Pete he started with a class ahead of us, and they graduated ahead of us. But him and I were they all went through. I went into the 3rd grade in Crawford. The year that we moved here from Western Kansas, it was 1951, and I was, guess I'd have been 9 years old, 1951. And so I spent from 3rd grade on through high school here. And then after I got out of high school, moved to Grand Junction and worked down there and went to Mesa College for part of the summer, and then later on, I went to Southern California to school. And
So what was it about each other that you fell in love with?
I liked her smile. She was bashful back then. She got over that, ruined it. No, not really. I don't know. She just, she's always my gal. I never was.
I think we sort of fell in love with each other just almost instantly. It was just there.
We hear that a lot.
And you knew, we had no idea what our life was going to be like, but it was there.
What was it about him?
I think he had a heart.
I wasn't handsome, that was for sure. We lost that one.
He was honest and fun. And that's what I really enjoyed about him.
How did you get your dad to come around?
Her mom did it.
Well, I had also told him, oh, I just get my Uncle Chester to take me down the aisle.
Her dad was going to refuse to walk her down the aisle.
And
How old when you guys got married? How old were each of you?
I was, 21?
no, I was 18.
You was 18, I was 21.
Yeah.
Okay, so you were legal.
Oh,
But her
yeah,
mother-
I was legal.
Her dad, her being the only daughter, she had 3 brothers. And her mother told her dad, Sissy's gonna get married. And he threw a fit. And she says, now Daddy, she's 18. So that stopped that one. But the man probably played these. Of raising his daughter, he probably paid me some of the finest compliments of my life. Of the way he treated me and stuff like that. And we came back from California. We worked in California. We came back. I was out in the cardboard loading up the truck. We had a pickup and we loading stuff in the back. And he came out. He said a little anvil about that big. He said on the tailgate. He said, "I want you to have this." I said, "What's that?" He said, "Oh, I had a welder make this for me when I was working in the shipyards in Oregon." And he said, "I've carried it around all these years." He said, "I want you to have it." I said, "Well, you got a boy that's mechanically inclined and stuff." I said, "Don't you think it'd be better for him?" He said, "No." He said, "You do more for us in the week and a half that you're here every year than my 3 boys that are here do the rest of the year." And but we tried to do what we could when we could. And my mother-in-law, there's 2 old people that I miss real bad. One's my mother-in-law, which is unusual, but I've been unusual most of my life, so I'm getting used to it now. And the other is I miss my dad. And but the Grandma Harlow was she had 3 boys and I was the 4th boy, and I got treated like a prince. She treated all of her kids great. And
Can I interrupt you a minute? I still get a kick out of my mom because when we came back, my son, Paul, she always had corn to pick and husk. Well, in the freezer, my son would put grasshoppers.
Grasshoppers.
And she would open those up. And that
surprise Grandma.
surprise Grandma, but she got the biggest kick out of him doing that.
How many children do you guys have?
2.
And how was parenting for you guys?
Well, I figured I probably
We had a strong-willed one
couldn't afford it anymore.
and one that was easygoing.
And
The girl was my
Which one was Stormy?
Yeah, I wondered which one was what.
look at the offspring of the one that
We had a Stormy.
Haywire continued on.
The 3 of us girls might look alike, but we probably have more of him than we do of her. We have her looks and his wit.
Personality, yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, I told her I was try her to not cause her to have a boring life. It gets to be kind of hard sometimes to figure out something to do for her to surprise her, but I still get in on every once in a while. You got to pull a trick on her, or do something that makes her look up.
Allie!
No, it's usually Chester out.
Yeah, it's just it's peanut.
Now, you mentioned you lived in California for a while.
Yeah.
Right. When was that? When did you go to
Well,
California?
after I came back from I went to college in Southern California, and I came back here and worked with my dad for a while. And he was a handyman, I guess, or builder anyway. And they picked on small jobs and stuff. He wouldn't work for a contractor. He said those guys are always pushing you. He said they don't let you do a good job.
Right.
So he worked with the old people that saved their money, and then when he got done, they'd pay him, and he'd go on, and the contractor was still waiting for this guy to get along. But anyway, I worked for him, and then I had taken a test for to work with a lot of government jobs. Bureau of Reclamation was busy in this part of the country, and a lot of kids went to work on surveying crews, and then they had a listing as a engineering aide, which was like a bottom line surveyor or something like this, but it was real low pay. And I went and took a test, and I got a little higher than average score and stuff. So when I went to Southern California, I took my name off the list. And when I came back, I had called Salt Lake and had them put it back on the list. And they called me about
what in Dutch John?
They called me about a job in Dutch John, Utah, which is Flaming Gorge Dam and Reservoir. And it was getting close to being finished. And so as an entry-level job, I went and bought enough groceries for a month and threw them in my old car and drove up to Dutch John and got in bunkhouse quarters with there's two old cowboys
Can
there.
I insert in here?
Yeah.
Well, for a wedding shower, all my girlfriends and people that I knew gave me a grocery, but they removed all the labels.
Cans without labels.
So we went out there with cans without labels.
But they did that as a joke or something?
Yep.
Okay.
That's how she became such a good cut. You
Surprise
never knew what you're gonna have.
And that was fun.
stew.
I attained this fairly permanent job, and all the people that were construction wise were all moving off to new project stuff. And so I worked the last 30 days of construction on Flaming Gorge Dam in the first 2 years of O&M. And so moving up there, I couldn't go anyplace, didn't get a paycheck for a month, and couldn't go anyplace. But all the change I could dig up after hours, there was a phone booth right over the hill from where we lived, in bunkhouse quarters, and I go down there and spend $5 or $7 in change talking to her on the phone. Well, it was cheaper to go marry her and move her up there than it was to keep talking on the phone. So it was an economic thing.
You're right, yeah.
So we had to
It's
look at it.
efficient.
Had to look at it straight. But then she brought all those groceries without any labels, which was fun too. But,
We were 45 miles from the nearest town.
Oh, okay.
They did have a gas station.
you get bread and milk there. It's about all you get.
Yeah.
But we fished every night. The guys I bunked with, one was an old rancher from over in the corner of Colorado, had a few cows, and the other guy was they're both warehousemen, and the other guy lived in Vernal, Utah. And so on the weekend, I was by myself up there, and they taught me how to fish, ice fish. I went in February, so they taught me how to ice fish. And so after we got married, we fished at least 5 nights a week. We go fishing, and the rainbow trout were hard. You could almost drive a nail with them. They were so hard. They're real healthy, natural fish. And so between eating fish and but we go to Vernal every 2 weeks, buy the same grocery list, probably 10 different things on it I had to have. Take the same grocery list, didn't have to make a new one. And
Milk and cheese.
we started in by going out
There you go.
of town. There's a little old service station out there I always traded with, and go out there and fill the old pickup up, go back to town and pick up the groceries and go back up the mountain. And so that was our starting off. But so we didn't have too many people camping on our
But tell her about the pickup,
what pickup.
where it came from.
Oh yeah, her folks were
Dad.
did nice. They their dad wanted to give us a down payment on a car because all I had was this old like 52 Chevy business coupe, and So he wanted to be sure I could get his daughter back to town to visit him every once in a while. So we went down, we went to Ford and we went to Chevy and stuff, and he talked to the Ford dealer, said, well, I'll get my daughter can turn his head, so we'll be in pickup Ford. And so,
You were in a Ford van.
and I grew up driving Chevys and stuff, and so we went back and we decided on the Chevy, and it was a plane stripped down type truck, 4-speed granny on the floor, and it was only 2-wheel drive, but it had a positive traction rear end, so you chain it up pretty well, get where you need to go. And up there, you really needed 4-wheel drive.
Sure.
Mud City.
And
You look real happy about Mud City.
she got to give me a bad time about we took this Chevy, Brittany got the Chevy, drove that Ford, and come back to the salesman. And he said, well, you ready to sign up? I said, well, for what? He said, well, a truck. I said, I don't want that thing. I said, I counted 6 new rattles it had when I pulled back in here from just taking that around town. I said, so I'm going to go down the block and see if, said that Chevy didn't make that big change when we drove it, so maybe it'll last a lot longer. So kind of ticked him off. And so anyway, we got the Chevy. And we went up there, and she was proud of her new truck. Dad gave us a down payment on that Chevy pickup.
And we had to make payments.
Yeah, we had to make payments, but then, we didn't need more than about $30 a month to live
Our
anyway.
first year there, we were made $3,300. So we lived on.
Wow.
And,
3,300
Total.
38
total in a year.
3880 was my base pay for that rate,
And
Wow.
what year was that?
1964.
1964.
And we had a $61 and a few cents a month payment for a truck, and then our housing was government housing, which was about $35 a month. And so we did all right.
Now, I haven't gone to school in California. Did you ever have a thought of living anywhere else in the country?
Well, I'd always wanted to come back here. I got a bad problem with not having wrinkles in the landscape. You get
Wrinkles in the landscape. I've never heard of that. That's great.
Can't see the mountains behind us and everything.
But-
but
Those
that's
are the
what's-
lines
Well,
of achievement.
We're naturally flatlanders. We were born and raised in the Chicago area, so
Oh, see,
flat,
I was born in the middle of western Kansas, which is flat.
flat, right?
And only thing you see on the horizon is a tornado coming your way.
Right.
But yeah, I was out there in Southern California, and the only time I ever got homesick when I was away from home was on, I think it was Christmas Day. The Christmas I spent on campus, is I got up and the wind had blown all the haze away from wind off the ocean, blown all the haze away, and I could see the little rolling hills down by Laguna Beach. And that was the only time I've seen any wrinkles in the landscape. And I got homesick for them sneaking little hills. But yeah, I always wanted to come back here, and every time we come this way from Grand Junction and get to Delta, and you look up here, see the string of mountains, and it was home. It's always been home.
It is a beautiful place. We
That's
love it
why I
here,
come
too.
back here. Just, I
Yeah.
figured that I want to expire any place, I might as well expire here. My dad always says, you never get rich here, but you'll never starve, because there's always something growing here that you can always have something to eat. And but in later years, it got so it didn't make any difference, eat a weed or something, don't- But I like to hear that water rippling over the rocks, and I'd like to see them mountains sticking up. So,
They're beautiful. What was the birth of your first child like? Were you in the room, or did they not have men in the room then?
Like never got that little
It's in that
sucker.
Chevy truck.
He didn't want to show up. He was
We kept going and seeing the doctor. And so finally they induced me,
I took her on rough roads,
but I passed
up
out.
power line right away. I took her over hills, through everywhere. We did all across country
Yeah,
stuff.
we did. He'd take me on drives, the
Couldn't-
bumpiest drives.
Couldn't
in the
ride like a
world.
kid loose, man.
Nothing was going to let him
And
come
so,
out.
so I spent the little old hospital we were in there. I spent what 2 or 3 days.
Yeah.
Took a long time to get him, and
Well, once I passed out, they just induced me, and I remember going into delivery room, and as soon as they pulled the plug, it was like a river that hit the bottom of that bucket. It sounded like a bucket, and man, I thought, I hope they catch him. And but it was me that, because I'd had such a hard labor and so long, he was fine.
but they kept giving her.
But he was a
her-
drug baby because they had given me phenobarbital to keep me
Oh,
calm.
wow.
And I slept in the
So
waiting
it
room right
was
outside
me
her
that
room.
they had to wait on being okay to go home.
Yeah, because that was a typical thing back then. Is
Right.
phenobarb.
Yeah.
Wow.
And you were in labor for 3 days?
And was that in Delta or was it in
That was
Junction?
Vernal, Utah.
Oh, Vernal, Utah. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
They had one doctor.
her mom
That was
came up and took care of the baby, and had to leave her in the hospital. Then we went back and picked her up. And
Was that hard for you?
Yeah, it was. And then I couldn't do nothing when I got home. You know, everything had to be done for me. And he, because when my son would cry, I wanted to go to him. And he would, you can't do that.
well, that was after the first 2 weeks he kept me
Yeah,
awake.
yeah. So he would,
He was
No,
Blair.
he's
He's
gotta
midnight
cry
Blair.
it
You know,
out.
he'd wait till after everybody was sleeping. Fuss, and she'd jump up.
so he made me,
She had
Go
trouble.
through that.
I had trouble holding her down. You know, the mom dealing her, and he got that. Finally got so he sleep at night instead of all day.
then he wanted the apprenticeship program came open. So he applied for that, and that was in Sacramento. And
I was ready.
Redding, California. In Shasta Dam. And,
so did you guys both move down there then? Or?
We moved.
yeah.
Moved to
Okay.
Shasta Dam, and
But the funny thing was that we had a movie man move our stuff, but I wanted, and then they had told us how to pack stuff, put the pillows and everything in the refrigerator and all that kind of stuff. Well, our traveling orders, I wished.
I come home from work and she just grabbed my dirty
So
clothes
we
and put them
had
in the
to
washing machine.
travel without.
So she washed my
Orders.
travel orders for cross country from,
He was
Utah to
so
California.
upset at me.
and so I had to go out there, and then they had to print another set of travel orders, and it took me like 2 weeks to get those. And I had a check. I tried to cash at Safeway, and they wouldn't take my check because I was out of state, out of town, Utah driver's license, all this kind of stuff. And so it was a pain in the rear.
Well, and your boss got us a duplex
Yeah,
recommended.
this couple from Wisconsin had moved out there and bought. It was a whole block. There was like 7 or 9 duplexes, little houses, stuff like this on this block. And this is all in the town that had been a construction town when Shasta Dam was being built. These were tar paper shacks and stuff. And so these people had bought this little place, and And we moved into a duplex. The only place we could find open. We're living in a motel until then. I'd come home from work and she'd sit on the bed all day, stuff like this, take care of the kid and stuff.
Not
Yeah.
much room when you have the bed and that's it.
But the day that we moved into Reading, to Shasta Dam, it rained 6.5 inches at the corner of Shasta Dam because one of my jobs was in charge of the weather station.
Mhm.
And so I looked back in the records and we got 6.5 inches of rain at the corner of Shasta Dam the day that we moved in. So
More rain I've ever
it was
seen.
all rain. So I never saw the sun until April or May. And, so this little whole wall, and we finally got a rental, came open, and we moved into that, and so that's where the kids started growing up. And then after a while, her mama showed up,
Yeah.
and
So we were like, until
Yeah,
I came
right.
along.
Well, you forgot to tell about what the duplex was like.
Why don't you say what the duplex was like? It sounds like you have more opinion than he does.
We had the duplex, and Paul was 3 months old by then. And so I had to get up and feed him his bottle. Well, you turn the lights on, there's cockroaches moving everywhere.
and they're all
And
out scouting around for something to eat. And so when you
Yeah,
turn the lights on, they
so
all go
we-
back to
we
the
dealt with
scanner.
And then one night, I woke up and it was snowing. And I come into his bed and I'm a jumping like crazy. It's snowing, it's snowing, it's
I
snowing.
woke up and here's this
I
crazy
was
woman
so
jumping up
happy
down
to
on my
see
bed, looking out the window, yelling, "It's snowing, it's snowing."
He never got over that one.
And I told her to be quiet because that year they got a real wet snow and it broke down 4 or 5 big, I think it
Just
was
dumped the weight of the
Wonder World was one of them, which is kind of like a Costco or something. And then there was a drugstore, big drugstore, and caved that building in. And all this heavy snow, we were right at the upper end of the Sacramento Valley, and so they didn't catch a lot of winter storms like this. But that one was blowing in there and just dumped everything. And I said, "Be quiet." I said, "I don't want to go to jail for being the cause of this." And I said, "You're the cause of it. You didn't tell anybody you wanted to know."
Is this what you thought marriage was going to be like when you moved with him to Utah and then?
I had no idea, none at all.
We were young,
You did-
young and
I've
stupid and on a
always
picnic.
been, well,
Yeah.
I still am. I just go to whatever is handed me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's life, and you make out what you can of it. And
That's not an attitude that people have these days.
no, it's not. And yes, it's hard for me now. And there's a few times I've been really scared. I'm not scared of dying, but I'm, in a way, you wonder how much you have to go through to get to that spot. And there was one day, not very long ago, I woke up and I didn't have any oxygen on for I don't know how long because the dogs had knocked it off.
Dogs knocked the hose off the concentrator.
And being asleep, you don't know it.
Mm.
And I woke up and I had no air on my face. And I yelled at him. I says, "You got to help me because,"
She's never run out of enough air that she can't yell at me. She
right.
still knows my 2 names.
I don't know
And
what to
get in
do
here.
because
Alan, come here.
I'm without air and not knowing how long you've been without air. I says, "We got to do something." So he come and helped me out.
I didn't go.
No. But I sat there and I did my exercises, but it scared me
Yeah,
really
for
bad.
sure.
And so since then, I'm a little more careful for what predicament I put myself in. But I have wonderful help. I have my favorite person over there, Stormy May.
Aw.
She's been,
Paul was the easy one.
yeah. Well, Stormy and her brother Levi.
I'm the first grandkid, so that's
Yeah.
why I get
But they all had the same giggle.
And your laughing eyes.
Yep.
How was it for you when your kids brought their person home?
Well, don't talk about my dad.
Yeah.
Actually, Paul's choice wasn't great either.
We had questions.
We had questions.
Both of my children, I told them, I said, after the first 30 days or whatever, I told them, there's one thing you guys have not learned at all, and what we try to teach you. And that is where to shop for a mate.
Where to
You don't know
shop?
where to shop for a mate. Well,
Where do you shop for a mate?
well,
You
Grand
can't.
Mesa.
The Grand Mesa,
The
you
Grand
can't.
Mesa.
my son married a lady that was a waitress and a barmaid, and she already had a little girl. And,
Don't worry about it, Mom.
and then my daughter married a guy that
Oh, I was selling a baby in a parking lot at a gas station.
Selling a baby.
I wasn't
He was
expecting
selling-
that. I wasn't expecting
No,
that.
I wasn't
He
expecting that
was selling
either.
my older cousin. My mom was sitting in the car and my dad was with Uncle Ronnie Joe and got Ryan on the car seat and was like, baby for sale, baby for sale. And walked up to my mom trying to sell her and my cousin.
How much?
They got me out of the deal, so it worked out. But, they don't know where to shop.
We have two kids and they're both married now, but it is a weird thing when they start dating and
Yeah, because you try to save your kids from having to be hurt.
yeah.
Mm.
You want to be that protective mother or dad. It's still always there, and still to this day is there. And so, yeah,
I always tried.
that's life. It's different.
I always tried to make their choice feel like they were part of the family and include them. Well, that didn't work for my ex-daughter-in-law. She was an unusual lady, and she didn't want to be part of anybody's life.
Independent.
And he didn't care as long as he had a six-pack of beer.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, he'd come by, and then after he followed Lisa out here, they split up, and he followed her out here, and he finally got hurt and had to go back to a doctor in California and kept me from having to go to.
Finally got hurt. What a way to put that
Well,
on, Grandpa.
He jumped off the second story
Yeah, he
To
did.
the house.
porch, and
He didn't fall. He jumped. That was his own fault.
yeah, he
Yeah,
compressed,
he
he
did.
compressed a
He
couple of discs in his back and stuff.
Oh,
And,
He had been at the restaurant where we worked. We did our everything there. Cooked and made pizza. And
which restaurant was that?
It was the old Needle Road. So
The old
where
Needle-
Desperado is now.
yeah,
Yeah,
That used to be a restaurant.
yeah.
yeah, that was a two-story
Mhm.
building
Right,
at that
right.
point, right?
Yeah.
And the restaurant above. And
Right.
And he had come up
But
and
he jumped off of the dog in the other house.
Yeah.
oh,
yeah, because he was in trouble.
he thought his wife was talking to a friend or something. And so he'd come running it from the bar and come in and yank the phone out of her hand and jerked it out of the wall. Well, she was calling the cops.
Well, she was afraid of him.
And it was
She had all right to be.
30 minutes from there to here. And so there was a high-speed drive for the sheriff's department to here. And that started things going downhill pretty fast. But kept me
Yeah,
from
he
going
did.
to Canyon City for
He
shoot
couldn't.
somebody.
Mm.
He couldn't even stand up.
Wow.
So we took him to the train station and put him in a handicap. And he
Car
walked.
next to the restroom, and same to his mama.
Mhm.
But he's a good kid, hardworking, functioning alcoholic. And,
Yeah, he was a good worker. Still is.
yeah. And
He's just real obnoxious.
huh?
Yeah. They also got Mount Manning. It was like they were talking about Nice and Buffalo Head. What did you name him? Squawking Box?
Squawking box because he used to sell cars and stuff. So anytime you saw him and he's breathing, his mouth is open. He's talking.
This is your uncle?
My father.
Okay.
We have a very.
But neither of my kids have got married since he got rid of the first one. Anyway, I guess we weren't a good example, or I didn't beat him enough.
One of the two. It's hard to know, right? Yeah, as parents, at some point, you just become witnesses to
Yeah,
whatever
right.
they're choosing, and
Yeah, you
it's
just.
best to not say much about it. That's what we found.
Well, the
your
old
mouth
whole
shut.
story
Yep.
of a parent telling a kid, "This is going to hurt you more than it does me." Don't know how to beat a kid. You don't keep beating them. You switch them good and turn them loose and hope they remember.
Yeah.
Now, it sounds like you're kind of a jack of all trades. You did a lot of different types of work, right?
He is.
So what did you study in college, and then like what were the different industries?
Well, that's probably really weird because I thought I went to California. I thought I was going to be a pastor, minister. And I got out there and found out that wasn't what I was wired for. And then when as I come back and went to work for the government, they had an opening for an apprenticeship. And at Shasta Dam, I served 4.5 years in apprenticeship at Shasta Dam. Got to be an electrician in hydroelectric power.
Okay.
And so I spent 34 years doing that. We moved to the Sacramento area at Folsom Dam, so I worked at Folsom Dam and Shasta Dam. And the advantage those jobs had over all the kids that I was in the apprenticeship school with was that all those were working for contractors, and they'd have a school that they were wiring 60 or 80 miles away, and they'd have to go out there, and they might get to come home on the weekend to see their family. I got to go home every night. I only had to drive 10 miles to work, come back to the same address every night, and put up with the kids' mama.
Don't fool you. Every day when he'd come home, she'd be in the kitchen. Grandma's always in the kitchen. He'd come behind her and give her a hug and a squeeze. And
Yeah, he
he'd-
always had to play.
So then she'd get all nervous. They're watching. The kids are here. Allie, stop it.
Well, there comes a time when you try to keep doing things for the other one, whether you want to or have to, and you want to try to keep the want to ahead of the have to.
Well, he is also one that he's a hands-on type person. He works with his hands. That's his love, is to do, fix,
Got tinkering
tinker.
and love.
It has to be hands-on, greasy, doesn't matter. That's where he is.
That's why he puts his hands on you.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
So you're
She's just being around.
That's why you're saying it's handsy.
you can't stand fingerprints, I guess you're in trouble.
Yeah.
What is the best part and the worst part about getting old?
Oh, I have so many things I still want to do. Quilting is one. It's my love. And I've been in sort of held back.
You can cool all you want. But she has amazing seamstress.
Well, I learned it.
She just make wedding dresses and such.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
We used to go in and try on wedding dresses.
Not
And
me.
we would take pictures
That's
of
good.
the wedding dresses. And
Then you make it.
then I'd make it.
I feel bad for somebody.
And it was fun. It was great. I like to be creative.
My aunt made my wedding dress.
Yeah.
It was fun.
And my wedding dress, my daughter wore. She did some changes to it. And we still have it, I think. I haven't seen it in a while.
She did a wedding one time that had 18 dresses.
Oh, about killed me. I did
She didn't do
two.
the wedding dress, but she
Two
did
at the same time.
did all the rest
Never
of the-
again.
the attendants and stuff,
Yeah.
clear down to the little,
Little girls.
there was 18 dresses that I loaded in the back of the van and hauled
And
down
all
to
the
church.
material was ordered out of New York.
And every one of them girls was a different shape and different size. And she could make them all look like they're long.
Then you had the cans you had to make also to go underneath. And the bustling and
Yeah.
all that.
But somebody say that she'd work on a dress, and so the girl would bring her friend over and they'd bring a wedding book, and the girl would say, I want the veil to look like this, and I want the top to look like this, and I want the bodice to look like this. And she'd sit down and cut out a pattern and make it.
That's an awesome skill.
Yeah.
Our daughter-in-law, so she made her
Her wedding dress.
Yeah. Good.
And your dress.
and my dress for the wedding.
And her mother's dress.
I did a lot
Or
of
the daughter-in-law's
bridesmaids dresses, and but it's hard to please people. That's
Yeah.
what I have.
What's in their head and what is in reality is not always the same.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. What the way they see it is not
How it looks on their
Feasible.
body.
doesn't fit the body.
So is this the part that's the best part or the worst part about getting old? Is that the worst part, that there's still so many things you want to do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfinished business. Yeah. I just still want to be able to be me. And being me is usually sewing.
Something.
And what's the best
I
part?
like cooking. I love cooking also. But like I want them all to come to my house so I can do Thanksgiving dinner, because that's what my passion is. That's how I show I care, is by what I do for them. So,
What's the best part?
the best part,
We're getting old.
getting old. Oh, I have so many memories
Mhm.
that I don't feel like I've been cheated.
Mm.
It's been an honor. And because it's been good. I not leave when I go, I've left my mark. And that I know will always be remembered by those that I leave behind. Yeah,
That's beautiful.
that's where I am with that.
Hey, I just, tickles me to beat the Grim Reaper. Every time the counter flips over, I just laugh at the Grim Reaper.
Yeah.
Love working with my Stormy. My Stormy's my sweetheart.
Well, I learned most of this from you guys.
Yeah.
You're my favorite, just like I'm your favorite. It's mutual feeling.
No, I
Yeah.
haven't,
We did a lot of dance costumes and stuff. Stormy was
I had an accident.
Stormy was Stormy.
Accident with a cow 4 years ago and kind of ruined me. I was tough until then, and the cow butted me over the fence, caused a brain bleed,
He did something that he did always said he wouldn't do.
but I always tried to keep everybody else from doing it. And I watched the calf born that morning, and made sure he got up and got on his mama. And went out and checked on him later, and he was down by the stock tank. And 3 other little calves were running around the stock tank, and every time they came around, they'd run over him and push him in the mud more. And he couldn't get out of the mud. And so the fence being low, I just reached over there to see if I could get a hold of him and pull him out of the mud. And these Scottish Highlander cows are like buffalo or muskox or whatever, and they all look after the little ones. And this cow that wasn't even his mother come up and hit me in the side of the head and knocked me over in the mud.
Oh, wow.
And went to the house and got it cleaned up. And
He had mud coming out, but he wanted to take a picture of himself. He had to dig his eyes out.
Mud in my glasses, my vest, my Levi's, I was just mud all. And so I got cleaned up and had a sandwich and sat down in my chair, and I started getting a headache. And it started me on a road.
He didn't want to go to the hospital.
But they took me down to Dillon. They promptly put me on a life flight to Grand Junction because I had brain bleed over on this. The cow hit me on this side, and I leaked on this side. So then they had, I don't know why they all had thought they had to do so much for rehab, because I didn't have any trouble getting up and going and doing stuff. But that was back when I was young, supple. I was still tough then.
Like 10 years, not even 10 years.
I got over that.
I don't know if
And-
you got hurt first or I did.
And yeah, you did it, face plant.
Yeah, but I think you got ran over first.
Yeah.
Or it was right after. I was in California when
Yeah.
you got ran over.
You got ran over.
Yeah.
By the cow, yeah. After he got
Oh,
headbutted,
ran
then
over
he
by the
stomped
cow.
on him.
Okay.
Then Stormy fell off the roof.
I didn't jump, I fell.
Well, the cow didn't run over me.
And God was with Stormy. All the way down the
She-
wall that she slid down
Fell down.
Fell down.
It
was her foot.
was a patio
So
rooftop.
she went down like
rooftop
this
patio.
with her
It was
feet
about
scratching all the
20
way
feet
down
down on
from her
the base.
rooftop.
To my face.
So
My boot marks, they're still on my wall. It'll be 8 years.
Wow.
Like 9 years in June.
but they said every seam in her skull broke up. It didn't blow anything out. It all loosened up. So I guess we're just a couple of
Hard head.
Hard-headed? I was going to get that too. Hard-headed?
a couple of miracles running around, but the good Lord.
That's their personality.
So how has love changed over the years?
Well, Al has
You
an
guys-
answer to the question too.
Oh yeah.
What's
About what is the best and worst part of getting old?
Oh, shoot, I don't know, the best week, it's always been pretty much the best. Until she got to the point where she can yell, Alan, come do this for me or something. Or tries to micromanage me. She working all those years in the power plant, I always did my own thinking when I was working on stuff. And that's the worst thing about a working guy retiring, is he gets a new boss.
Mm.
And so everything, I have to list all that. So praise the good Lord for earplugs.
Or giving you the same boss for 60 years
Yeah.
instead of just 20? You don't get to
Yeah.
retire from this.
I'm doing better, but it took me, I says, you've been with me all through this problem that I have had with my heart. And I don't think the way he processes things, my brain just don't go that direction. And I said, you should start picking up on that. I'm not telling him what to do. I want him to work with it.
She doesn't appreciate my short
Yeah.
memory.
Just your heart.
But that was having the heart, have to do the 5-way bypass and I went in for a pacemaker.
I
and
didn't know.
came out with.
Didn't know she was a complete wreck. when I
bypass.
took her in.
Wow.
It was really, really hard. You don't really realize what a person has to go through physically just to challenge that. You have to really work yourself back.
Yeah, these bodies wear out.
But your love never fades.
No, I still love him. I always will.
Boy.
And
My favorite thing that Grandpa and Grandma's ever said, I think it was when you had that first bit of cancer when we were still at the restaurant, and they were checking your heart. And you said, "Don't do that. The only heart condition I've ever had is for my bride."
Yeah.
yeah, we've had a good time.
But we knew each other before we got married, and too many people have too short of relationships before they say, and they need to spend a little more time.
Well, you never really know anybody anyway, even if you've lived with them 60 years.
Mhm.
You
There's still new things you find out.
don't marry a woman.
It
Don't
never
marry a neighbor.
stops.
Don't marry anybody but your friend.
We're still friends.
That is pretty powerful.
But anyway, yeah, she balked a little bit around the edges and stuff. We've never had any knockdown fights or anything like this, but some kind of noisy arguments. But
That's it.
the
Just shut up and listen to me. Just quit talking. I want to talk. I want to know. I'm asking questions. And he thinks asking questions is telling him what to do. And that's our biggest problem right now.
sometimes I'm not ready to teach school. I don't need to do a 2-hour class on it. Let's just get on with it. You know?
I just want to understand. And it's like watching even movies on TV. I want to know why. What's going on?
And he was taking a nap, so he doesn't know the answer.
Her mama
Yeah.
her mama never got the lesson across that because I said so.
Because I said,
Mama said, I said so. Oh, I don't know. The best thing, I guess, is being able to hang out with her all those years. And
well, we know that healthy couples fight, arguments are inevitable. And a lot of couples get to that point where they're like, I don't know if I want to be with you. Every
Yeah.
couple gets to a point like that.
Did you?
Not me, Jane.
economics.
Never me. But if you guys can share a little bit about what helped you get through all the years, and all the struggles and all the
Well,
challenges.
economics helped quite a bit. Because
Economics.
I didn't have a whole lot of money, and so when she was ready to leave, I said, "Well, where are you going to live? Who's going to pay your rent? I'm paying for this house, so I'm staying here. So
I'm just going to go live with so.
you don't get to take the house.
It's usually my twin.
so
But I knew
so
my
that stopped a lot of our trouble,
twin would be there for me.
But,
And it is true. Twins have a friendship between each other
she
that I
got
don't think that you can have.
I can tell you to go back to
she got a boy, her twin brother,
Yeah.
her brother.
And he's always been there for me. And still is. And when I went through all this heart stuff, he was there every day. And he's the one that took me to my doctor's appointments. And I lived in his home when I come home from the hospital. He
How was
took
back
care of
in
me.
before you guys got married?
Oh, before I got married?
Oh, wasn't that what you're talking about right now?
No,
What are you talking about?
my heart. when I had my heart bypass.
But that cow accident has stopped me from doing a lot of stuff that I've always been active, always like shot put stuff like this, and I've got away from all that. So I may not. I'm working on bodybuilding right now.
Bodybuilding.
Yeah, I'm trying to kill this.
Okay.
Well,
You're trying to build on the body. Is that what you're
Building
saying?
a body.
Building.
but it doesn't stop. You keep on going and learning new things, and you help others all the time. You're a helper too.
I know that.
But one thing that
Humility.
That-
That's my point.
That's a big thing, right?
when I went this last time, when Stormy took me to ICU, and I had to stay. And you just, that experience of being in intensive care, I guess you'd call it, down here in Delta I was there 6 weeks.
One time you're on there for.
It was a long time. And you just have you have to let others be part of your life. And you just let them in.
Did you know that she was supposed to be at our house when she took you the last time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we all prayed for you.
Oh, how wonderful. Prayer is the key. I can tell you that because it was hard. And poor Stormy, she had to drag me to the car, her and her friend. I couldn't even walk. It was impossible. But we made it.
It was rough on the
No
front end.
mistake.
It was rough on the front end, but the longer they kept with it, my ears got over being nice.
No, he stayed home, and the reason he stays home, he never leaves his animals to anyone to take care of. He's a responsible man, and so he never came to see me or anything. He was doing his
I
part.
haven't seen you.
We couldn't
No,
get
he didn't.
we couldn't get two cars going that way at the same time.
No, he didn't come and see me, Stormy.
Yes, you
I
did.
had to go see her at the hospital.
He did.
Yeah, you went that second or third day. Because I called to make sure, because I had to go back to work.
Is that right?
Well, I didn't think he did. I
See?
tried to get him.
See, there's the advantage of the disappearing car.
Is there anything you want to ask him?
I told him what I was supposed to ask him.
It's okay if you don't.
No, I do want to ask you. Yeah, no, okay. Maybe. I'll ask you on the way home. I don't know if this is appropriate for I'm kidding.
Can always delete it.
You really want to know the answers.
Shoot, after this many years, there ain't nothing inappropriate. That's part of life.
You know, one thing I wanted to ask the two of you is it seems like humor is a really big part of your relationship.
Oh, you have to have that. I mean,
Well.
that's what, you have to laugh at yourself.
I had an administrative officer ask me one time why I was always doing one-liners and stuff like this, and I said, Johnny, I think in cartoons and dream in color. And that's just the way it is, you know. Everything has its light side, and if you let anything get dark, you get, you know, there's had some dark spots and not passing stuff, but if you lose your humor, it's pretty well downhill. Then that's a good way to go.
Has she always laughed at your jokes?
Yeah, he laughs at his jokes.
No, has she always laughed at your jokes?
Well, the thing is, I don't really care. She may not think it's funny, but you know what?
She does.
I'll even pull a prank on me if I can get somebody to giggle. No, we hadn't. I guess we've lived a little different lives than a lot of people do.
Well, we've always been there, no matter
Of course we-
what. I get instilled in us as a child that you've got to stick to it. Life can go all kinds of ways, but you're still you.
Are you disappointed in all of us for none of our relationships working out? Or
No.
I mean, none of us girls have gotten married. Paul and Mom. Those didn't really work out.
You know what?
Levi's been married twice. He's not even 30.
You
No,
know,
I would like it
if
different.
I don't have to wear your boots, I don't really give a rip, you know.
Your mom would like to have a lasting relationship, but honestly, I don't think she's ready. Because that would change her who she is.
115% old me.
She's the fix-it-all person, or tries.
They call her Mama Lisa up at town.
But,
She takes in kids that's busted and
but it's
helps them out.
just like us. When you have the right one, you know it. Until then, it's all up to you guys. You'll know it. You know it with all your being. It's not going to change how you feel inside. It will be there. Yeah. At times I thought that you had a perfect relationship.
I'm really good at acting.
But the thing of it is, you're still you. And so we don't want to turn that around. We don't want to change that.
Yeah.
We're not going to try to make you get married and have 16 kids or nothing like that because,
16. Wow.
It's a lot.
any.
You know those things last a lifetime?
Yeah, it was.
She used
I've
to
never
sit
been
down.
able to put with my kids, I've never been able to try to lay out what I think they should do. I think they should think about it themselves. And when they decided, and then live for it, live it out.
That sounds like that's what the two of you did.
Yeah,
You figure things out on your own.
We support them.
Well, yeah,
No matter what they do, we're still their parents, grandparents, and they're ours.
yeah, there's a lot of bumps in the road, but that don't mean you get off the road.
And yes, I might have favorites.
We
But
may have to
that's my
delete this.
right. That's
Delete this part.
There's
But
an
it's
old-
because of the relationship we've had with them. And
there's a movie that
Stormy's one of my specialties because I've been through a
well,
lot of things
We
with
spent the
her.
most time with you guys.
Yeah,
We
you
spent a lot of
have,
time
and
together.
driving out there to get to the hospital because you weren't getting nowhere.
she,
We
her
only know.
little Gaither song that she used to sing, the Great Big House.
That's a different song, but yes.
Well, whatever. Anyway, you know what I mean. What's that song?
The Big Big House song is by Audie. Or who is it by?
I don't
The
remember.
Gaither song is I Am Promise. That's the song.
Yeah, I am a promise. I am a
That's the Gaither song.
possibility.
Yes.
And that's our
And the
story.
Donut Man, we listened to him a
Oh,
lot.
yeah. The Donut Man was fun. Have you ever heard of the Donut Man?
No.
No.
He's a good guy.
Mhm.
So our podcast, we have probably over 400,000 subscribers, and we have listeners in over 150 countries.
Poor people.
Right.
No, that's good. That's great.
And people are, especially in the cities, really struggling as to how to have a healthy relationship, and the longevity of it too, right? Because relationships at this point in our society are kind of castaway. right? People get divorced so quickly and for trivial reasons, and I think a lot of our listeners really tune in because they want to know what are the secrets of staying together and getting through the challenges and hard times. If you guys have any advice on that.
think it's like I was telling her mother today, because she feels overwhelmed. I says, well, you need to get out a piece of paper and write down things you want to accomplish and mark them off as you go through them. And then they don't overwhelm you. And there'll be times that you don't like it, what you're doing, but it's still there. It's something you've accomplished. And it will sustain you.
Probably one of the bigger things that is an advantage to a longer relationship is faith. But if you have faith in we weren't from two different religions. We weren't from two different societies or anything like this. And I was just not a farm kid from up here, and her dad was a contractor down there. And the other thing is always in kiss and make up before you go to sleep at night, even if you have to pull a prank on her, so you have to repent.
It's just like, and he had this old coupe car. When I went to college, we had a pillow. Send me the pillow to bring
That was
one.
back when
It was a song,
Mhm.
and that was our hold together little object.
that's pretty bad, it's still dreaming. You gotta watch that.
So last question. What is it that your partner does that you know they love you?
His eyes, because you can see right through. He has a heart, and it comes out through his eyes.
I ain't figured it out yet.
Keep him guessing.
Yeah, if my name's not being screamed or being told what to do,
When it comes all down to it, we
She-
still love each other.
best thing she wants to do is go make bacon and eggs. And the highlight of my week is if she decides to make biscuits and gravy without me asking her.
I do like
It's-
biscuits and gravy.
It's good. He'd eat biscuits and gravy 3 times a day, and then he eats the biscuits between
With peanut butter.
with peanut butter.
Nice.
Biscuits with peanut
Yeah.
butter. I never even thought about that.
Oh, he's
That's what I feel about with peanut butter on anything.
yeah,
They
he
don't-
does. It goes on
Well-
everything.
Crackers.
We can buy the 3-pound jar, but we'd like to buy a 12-pound jar. Because it'd last a week.
He goes through
And my
the
son,
big jar of
my
peanut
son's
butter
ahead of me.
every week. That's just how much peanut butter he uses. It goes on cakes. It goes on bread. It's ice
and
cream.
my son, he's about as bad.
Yeah,
But
They're-
my
but
dad,
his dad was too. His dessert,
my dad's
no matter
dessert
what
was,
he had.
was an inch of peanut butter on a piece of bread and a little honey on top.
Some
Well,
good
he
stuff.
also had a plateful he made, and he would just he'd eat so much peanut
But
butter.
I don't know, it's I run out of things of fancy stuff that I want or anything like this. I'm not would be a real poor person to try to judge the menu or anything like this, because it's everything's simple. It's you find out that's what works.
Yeah, that's, I think, something you get with age as well. You stop collecting things and you start just
Mhm.
being, and it's, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, people have been sharing stories since the beginning of time to bond, heal, and grow. We hope that by you guys sharing your story, it's enriched your life and the lives of our listeners.
Thank you.
I want to thank you for joining us on our podcast. We want to thank all of you for joining us and listening and watching our podcast. Our passion is in helping couples and people have happy and healthy relationships. And this podcast gives us a fun way of bringing our knowledge and expertise to you, our listeners. For all of you listening, please let us know how you enjoyed the show. If you have any questions, comments, or topic suggestions, please email us at contact@couplesynergy.com. For more information about Couple Synergy and our programs such as Relationship 101, the home study course, the next Couples Relationship Enhancement Weekend, and our premier couples coaching program called Couple to Couple, look us up online at couplesynergy.com.
And if you know someone who could benefit from this episode, please download it and share it. And thank you for listening.
Until next time, synergize your life and synergize your love.
You have been listening to Couple Synergy with Dr. Ray and Jean Ketkodian. Couple Synergy was recorded, edited, and produced by Dr. Ray and Jean Ketkodian. Voiceover and music entitled Breathe and Let Go was recorded and composed by Gina Gonzalez.